our skin. And the melanin is not limited to the skin now, because there is tremendous amount of melanin in the brain. And so when the African begins to connect brain melanin and get those circuits working at high speed, we get a different type of thinking. It's far away from being a slave. So it comes from knowledge, and knowledge will be our salvation as we go forward, particularly as we engage in these various types of war. On the local scene now, there's a serious spin-off happening from the whole attempt by the governance to bring ganja within a framework where the economics can be controlled. And so the parliament has been rushing through some legislation to the point now wherein they're letting the population know that no longer can you be arrested by any law enforcer for carrying less than 2 ounces of ganja. Now, that being so, it means the harassment that has been meted out to the population, the brutality to Rastafari from the 1930s onwards, the criminalization of much of our population, destruction of records and validity, a whole heap of things go on amongst the population, violence because of this plant. Now in 2014, the impression is that it is now legal. It is not legal. It is now has been decriminalized, which allows persons to hold minor portions. But there's problematic still in the idea of exporting. We see where the ganja farmers are going to beginning to organize themselves. We see where hemp is now being brought to the fore. And I want to explore who will really benefit when these things really manifest. Is it really the people who need it most, the base of the society? Or will these things be controlled by the planter class? It's a very important moment that I will have to seize. And in seizing the moment, we don't really want to be spectators. And I want to be owners of the production and not just the consumers of what is being produced. So some things going on, and wider than our settings right here in Jamaica and in the North American scenario, there is a greater distress in Africa, which was really generated by another aspect of the war, the Ebola. And this virus has found its way into North America, into the US, and I need to be super conscious as we go into the time to come.
This is Styles FM.
Lumber, cement, steel, plyboard, plates, cups, shower curtain, sheet. Then this now go take me all day, man.
Daddy, mommy said I must go a business depot.
I need to find somewhere with ample parking space, gives discounts, does delivery, and has the most courteous staff.
Why, Daddy Duffy?
Yes, Builders Depot, right at Industrial Estate, Longwall in Barnes Bay. I call them at 715-3128 or 284-3337.
Look how long me I tell him. We got Builders Depot over there, so.
Check them out.
Builders Depot. Once you need it, we have it.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
With Styles FM on the go, you can listen to your favorite programs by calling the USA number 213-992-4360. If you're in the UK, is 033-0010-3322.
so much distress. What I really want to contemplate is whether biological warfare is really just a figment of imagination, or is it a reality? Is it a reality that wars are fought along the line of biological weapons? Because as African people now in this time, we need to be very, very concerned. The continent is under ravage, and this whole production of viruses. We need a virologist to call I. We need our experts to come forward and explain to I what is a virus, how our virus is created, how are they sustained, the whole history of the virus. We have to know what a virus is, because obviously it is not visible. And we heard a couple years ago about the SARS, and then we heard that viruses are coming out of Africa. And we always hear about the worst things coming out of Africa. We hear about mosquitoes, them have an African name, they are Egypti. And so all of a sudden we have to be very concerned about ourselves as African people. What is the stigma being attached to Africa? And what is this virus war that we're now fighting? Because I've always heard about these things, but to really experience it is a different thing, as we know, swimming is different from standing on the shore. So I am concerned about the nature of the battle that I and I have to facing, and how do we counteract without using the same type of weapons, because we don't have the weapons of mass destruction. We used to hear about the war against America's war against Iraq. Iraq was being accused of having WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. Well, the virus is an aspect of that weapon. It's biologically created and can be used to incapacitate populations or really reduce populations, generally speaking. And there's a history of germ warfare. It was used in South Africa. The native Indians in North America felt it. You poison the food, you poison the water, the livestock. These are serious weapons. And we have to look around us now, and realize that there is a struggle for the continent. There is a struggle to conquer Mars. And in the conquering of Mars, the resources must come from the earth. And the land that these resources are settled in is Africa. And there's a great battle to conquer space and to get further and further out of the solar system. These things require energy, requires material. And the land that controls the material is Africa. And the place where the war is being waged is Africa. I'm wondering about this Ebola. Because Ebola, from my perspective, is a weapon of mass destruction and need to be dealt with in that way through knowledge of our immune system, because the attack is on the immune system. So we need to reflect on our eating, on our drinking, and the medicine, because the medicine will have to be our food. And as they always say, we should make food be our medicine. Metamorphosis.
Yes, wow. Still I see I give me the remedy, the fire figure burn. After the tables turn, give me the remedy, the fire figure blaze. Burn Babylon dirty way. Special. Eternal fire. Dirty Babylon, you are gonna get bruised. Me, I want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going to lose. Me, I want them. Move, yeah. Pack up and walk. Me, I beg you move, yeah. I beg Me said the movement alive. Marcus said fi organize and centralize. Rasta fi own banks and enterprise. So me nah stop chanting, my soul enter Zion. Princes of fire, Babylon me tell you your time just expire. What kind of wickedness me or you transpire? And no gasoline and no tire. Eternal fire. Dirty Babylon you a go get bruised. Me I want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going lose. So we I want them. I beg you pack up and go. Me I tell you. I tell you pack up and go. Where them I go with a key and saltfish when better them give me a key and garlic. That's right. Me a map and a compass on ya. Make me show them say saltfish no come from on ya. The fish they come a far away. They bring him all the way from Norway. Hey, I could the rest of them a try for trick. God that can't be me national dish a eternal fire. And dirty Babylon you a go get bruised. Me a want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going lose. Chronicle I want them move. Yeah. I beg you pack up and go. Me I tell you. I beg you move. Quick, pack up and go. Tell me why every time you hear about Africa are shackles and chains. Tell me why you try to corrupt the liquor Rasta man brain. And if you tell the youth them say Africa exists long before the Middle Passage. Me come to tell you get to use them for wise because Babylon a brainwash the masses a fire. The dirty Babylon you a go get bruised. We a want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going lose. And we a want them. I tell you pack up and go. Me a beg you move.
So there must be some focus on fighting resistance. We need resistance, but resistance is with knowledge. We need to have knowledge of the immune system. Our immune system is a system of biological structures and processes within our bodies that protects us from disease. So we have to improve our system that will protect us against diseases. And it's these diseases that are being foisted upon I through all different measures, whether through liquid, through solid, or through the air. We're under attack, our immune system. When the immune system goes, the entire body becomes ravaged by these bacteria and viruses and germs. So it's a biological war. We need to be awakened to that consciousness that we are engaged in a biological war. You have to fight back. You have to fight forward with knowledge. The immune system. Food. Food now becomes crucial. Chemistry. So we have to send forward for Michael Anthony Bell. And he will come and give us more chemical information as to really what are the foods we must source to build up our immune system, that as more disease comes upon us, we have a better chance of surviving. This is a very serious thing. The pharmaceutical companies are the ones who are going to benefit financially as we drop off. But we're not planning to be wiped out. There is no vision of extinction. What we want to do is consolidate our position through knowledge. Food is the key. No, so, Rastakura.
Takua represent. Iman is a Rasta man. And we all support organic agriculture. Iman Blak. Osa. Metamorphosis. Make your food be your medicine. And your medicine be your food. Make your food be your medicine. And your medicine be your food. Sometimes I feel like I would eat a whole heap of blouse and skirt Jamaican food. Me just remember some nice food that me love to eat. Iman Blak. You ever eat some sun meal and red peas, rich with coconut milk and some steamed calaluna calabash? You ever remember one Sunday night when they get some big data pudding on minty or BC or any one of them tea there? Sometimes I really miss the food from my granny. Hey, mama used to could have baked some torta, you see man, and blue jars and cassava dumpling on. Every Sunday we get sour sap juice and rice and peas and wake up Monday morning with all some roast bread fruit and green banana. Make your food be your medicine, and your medicine be your food. Make your food be your medicine, and your medicine be your food. You ever that bush one day and get a piece of roast yam and sugar and water with lime juice yet? Mama could have juicy carrot make it taste good, no blow, wow. All when sweet yam time come, and she full up my plate with that. No matter how the dog communicate, your mind and your mouth in a different state. You could have loved him look more. Move, Bruno. You know, see me I eat. You ever eat some tofu with a sweet and sour passion from country farmhouse yet? And I do leave a lettuce and some mung bean sprouts. Yeah, man. Sometimes water run from his mouth. When me remember the Saturday morning in a Gilbert, when we wake up and get a hot bowl of cornmeal porridge and 2 slices of whole wheat bread. And when evening come, we get gungo bean soup full up with apple yam, dasheen, carrot, okra, pumpkin, and 2 hot green pepper, well seasoned with some skeleton and thyme, 2 peg of garlics. Metamorphosis. You ever wake up on Sunday morning and get a cup of chocolate tea and cabbage and bread and fried dumpling and ackee and the tea hot so till you can hardly shut your mouth when you sip it? But still, sometimes you feel like when I eat a whole heap of blouse and skirt Jamaican food. Cause why? Food is such an importance to man's daily life. So you just make your food be your medicine, and your medicine be your food. Make your food be your medicine.
So then now, what will be the food of the black people in resisting these diseases? What will be our salvation in redeeming our immune system? There is a science called immunology. I tell you, we have to send more youths into these fields of research rather than banking and management of other people's resources. We need some immunologists, because this is the science that examines the structure and the function of the immune system. Maybe Iman will have to come even deeper into this research and knowledge of the whole thing, because immunology now, it comes from medicine. It originated in medicine. And what were some of the early studies in the causes of immunity of diseases? So diseases have been around a long time. The earliest known reference to immunity was, according to the Europeans, a plague that was in Athens in 430 BC. So the immune system now is something that we have to spend a little bit of time engaging into. And when you look into the immune system now, it's going to demand us explore foods. The basic foods that are grown in Jamaica, the green plants in which rest the medicine. So I was told as a youth that black people will never know themselves until their backs are against the wall. We always hear that as a folklore talk. Well, I am on a set to die them now. I don't think as a race of people our backs can go any further against the wall facing this thing called Ebola. There is great concern and much information going out, much misinformation, much whole heap of disinformation. People are basically confused. People don't know where the thing start. They don't know how to contain it. They don't know. Much ignorance is out there. So part of the solution will depend on the knowledge that we can acquire of really how to conduct ourselves, how does this thing really spread, and how to protect, because it's real. We can't pretend that it can't come to Jamaica, because Texas is just 2 or 3 to 4 hours away. And the numbers in Texas are increasing in terms of people who have been identified as making contact. So I and the island now must be proactive. We don't want to wait for the CDC of the United States to tell us how to begin to guard our borders. We need serious changes at the international airport and screening. And the whole tourist industry may have to take a beating for us to maintain our health. A lot of complications, a lot of implications. Our food farmers, our herbalists, we need to know about the power now of the plants and the various juices that the system need to reject the viruses under these attacks. It's germ warfare. We must be prepared. Yes, it's a serious time for the people of melanin. The melanin race is under distress. And the war is intense. And there are many groups of people who have power who think that there are just too many people on the planet. There are people who hold the view that there are too many beggars on the planet. There are too many people being given handouts, and that there is shortage of resources, and that the population count is at 7 billion. And if you look at that 7 billion, 9/10 of that population are people of melanin. So when you do the simple maths, any depopulation of the planet will be directed at the people of melanin. That's like simple arithmetic. So I cannot delude myself by thinking that there is this great cloud of righteousness that surrounds the earth that will protect I and I. No. This is a war. And there have been wars that have been fought on different levels. There are military wars, there are religious wars, there are economic wars, and there are biological wars. And biological wars now are being carried out by men who create these weapons that shoot out viruses and bacteria. And these weapons are in reality the weapons of mass destruction. And in the destruction of these people, the buildings remain. So the effort was always how to fight war and kill people and don't destroy property. Because those who fight war are only concerned about how much it's going to cost to rebuild. So once them can kill and don't rebuild, then they have been more successful at murder. So the naivety of the people who believe in the mythology of the world coming to an end and being rescued by a savior coming out of the clouds. Anybody coming out of the clouds, man, is going to be guys in spaceships. A lot of people are now in space. The Indians have now reached Mars. The Indians have a vessel circling Mars. So as poor as the Indian population is, they see the value of space research. And they now are in the big boy club. The African people of deepest melanin, nowhere to be found. Consumers, worrying about the world coming to an end. The world is undergoing a serious change. And there are forces who are directing the change. And it is man. It is the brains of men who are directing the change. And any effort to depopulate the globe must be resisted with knowledge and conscience. Yeah, everybody have a chance to live. African people, melanin people, this is the time to rally around your identity. You can't pretend to be brown, no. You can't pretend to be off-white. If you have melanin, you're under attack. It is a global war. It's a biological war. Wake up.
If you are living in a marketplace and you're no buyer or seller, you'll find yourself left in space, subject to be bought or sold. If you are living in a tenant yard and you are not the landowner, you'll get that notice from your landlord to leave sooner or later. So what you need is liberation. Everyone needs it. Young and old, they need liberation. Let's come together for a liberation. If you are in bondage, you are not free. You need liberation. Let's unite for a liberation. Everyone needs it. If you are dwelling on a piece of land and you are not the landowner, you can be sure that the government man is gonna label you a squatter. If you're an alien in a far country and you are treated as a stranger, you don't belong to that society. You could end up in danger. So what you need is liberation. Everyone needs it. The young and old, they need liberation. Let's come together for liberation. If you are in bondage, you are not free. You need liberation. Let's unite for liberation. Everyone needs it.
Now, right here on the rock in Jamaica, there's an opportunity for the people of melanin, the black people, particularly led by the Rastafarians, to set a foundation for liberation for the first time. And the liberation will be driven by economics, not by political or religious ideology. This liberation that I'm speaking about now revolves around the decriminalization of the plant, the cannabis. And I'm going to suggest that at this moment now it's time to be very alert as to who are the real beneficiaries of this process and try to hold economics as an important aspect. There are really two aspects to the plant that are being liberated. Ganja, pharmaceutical smoking ganja, and hemp, which has been attached to the process. So two things are taking place: the decriminalization of ganja and the movement towards the industrialization of hemp. What seems to be happening now is that the general population, Rastafarians in particular, are very excited about the pharmaceutical smoking side of the ganja. There are Ganja Farmers Association being set up, a lot of discussion being taking place as to how to get the most out of growing ganja for pharmaceutical purposes. Of course, it's a celebration that you are now liberated to smoke your herb in places that are allowed, and you're allowed to carry less than 2 ounces. So there's a sort of high over the society relative to this ganja smoking herb. And it's a relief for the general population, and included, that the police can no longer just fly down an eye and just dismiss and harass and search and carry to jail and, you know, dehumanize. So we're shaking off this now as a population. But there's a reality that we are not observing. And the reality now is the money. Who will the money go to if we concentrate on the pharmaceutical aspect of ganja? And I'm saying the money will not reach to the poor. The money from that angle will stay in the hands of the rich. The manufacturers will maintain the factories and the plants that generate these drugs. A man feel free that him can go and smoke him herb, so individually him feel alright, so him can smoke him herb. For in terms of health products, it is the same poor people who have to go and buy these pharmaceutical products made from ganja. So we're turning a totally blind eye now to the power of the industrialization behind hemp. And if we leave that to the other groups, we're going to be poorer than poor. So I'm now not jumping on the bandwagon and celebrating the ability now to smoke a spliff. I want I to focus on how do we get into the manufacturing industry. How do our farmers generally move from farming food to farming for industry? How does a farmer begin to farm hemp and get 3 crops each year? How do we as a black people begin to manufacture paper and cloth? How do we break out of that cycle of only being first industrial makers, meaning farmers and fishermen? How do we escape only being servants at the hotel level? How do we get into the class of manufacturers? And this is the challenge that Rastafari must see and the rest of the population must notice. That is not about the legalization of the smoking ganja and the drugs for the medicine. That is a smoke screen. The real money rests in manufacturing hemp products, where youth from the corporate area can take up residence in the rural and take the farming of hemp serious. There is no need for any plant to any sort of products to fight plant disease, because the hemp protects itself. There's no prettier larceny in hemp. A man will thief a man ganja crop. A man won't thief a man crop of hemp, because the hemp will have to go through a process. So the liberation that will come through economics. And the economics that I'm speaking about now is ownership of the manufacturing sector that will bring forth the cloth and the paper and the products that come from hemp. There are over 25,000 products that can be manufactured from hemp. And this statement is coming from the Popular Mechanics of 1938. Over 25,000 products can be manufactured from hemp, from cellophane to dynamite. Hemp is the strongest natural fiber and can be grown without harmful pesticides and herbicides. Hemp, otherwise known as cannabis sativa, has been cultivated for over 10,000 years and continue to be grown in many industrial nations, including Canada, England, France, Germany, Thailand, China, and Hungary. We need hemp to be cultivated and grown in Jamaica for the liberation of our economic situation.
Styles FM, you're my number one.
There's another thing, the side effect now to the germ warfare. It forces one to become very conscious about race. Makes one look into who really being affected by these viruses, if that is a plural. Now, I don't know about America directly in terms of what I'm about to say, but I will put it out anyway. But in relative to Jamaica now, we have a population of different racial groups, Chinese and Indians in particularly, and 96% Africans. Now we're under the Chick V thing first. And I tell you, Iman get some serious post-effect tension in the joints and some loss of appetite and all sort of feelings and things that I know, not only looking at it specifically as a black man here, I'm wondering about the other groups. Is it affecting the other racial groups in the island? Yeah, the Chick-fil-A. Are the people of the Indian population going down with it? Are the Chinese going down? Is it something specific to black people? Because the Ebola seems to have a, you know, there are a lot of conspiracy theories, you know. And right now, if you look through the information, there is information telling us that the AIDS and the Ebola were manufactured by Western scientists. Now, this could be propaganda either way. But the moment that you put those stuff out, it forces you to think. And begin to think whether there's really an attempt to create a specific virus that the people of melanin cannot resist. Because it is the melanin people these things are usually directed at. Black people, African people. People who seem to be hiding from their own identities, trying to call themselves all different things. Well, the virus seems to know exactly who it and what it's looking for. So who is who and who is what? Critical now, you know, because identification of the self and your land mass and your whole history and culture and heritage is under assault. Black people will never know themselves, they said, until our backs are against the wall. No. This wall is a wall of virus that is being very specific. It is ravaging Western Africa. And it is in North America now, in the state of Texas, spreading out slowly. I'm going to tell you them, it's grief. Grief to black people. Because there's also information trying to suggest that there are antidotes. But the antidotes are specific to white people. I don't know if this is propaganda, but it's out into the internet information. It's out into cyber information. And you either read it and accept it, or you reject it, or you look in between. But there is a war on. And without the evidence, we can't really say directly that the war is directed against black people. But as a black man, I saw it feel. And when I look out into the globe and see how the thing is moving, you also read that the American government has a patent on the Ebola. So in other words, nobody else can do too much research or come up and it's getting very, very spooky. And within all of that now, we have to maintain a balance, maintain our consciousness, maintain our identity. As for the people in North America, the identity issue is rising up. Smokey Robinson had to come out and declare that he loves being black. Because people in North America now seem to be more perplexed. Because being an American gives you the sense of a feeling that you're powerful. But being black in America doesn't give you a sense of power. You become a victim. And we see it in the police behavior. And we see it right across the United States. The black man don't really have much protection as much as he's under the American Constitution. But his problem is greater than just protection. It's about identity. I still don't know who he is. And I want to just give you a quotation from a book by Anthony Browder. This book is called The Browder Files. I think it's important to have this amongst your other Bibles. And Tony Browder reminds us that the name that you respond to determines the amount of respect and self-worth that you will have. Similarly, the way a group of people collectively respond to a name can have devastating effects on their lives, particularly if they did not choose the name. So we have been given names as people by others. The slave owners gave his possessions names. One of the names that was given to I and I as a people was the name Negro. And Tony Browder tells us that the name Negro is Spanish for black. And the Spanish language comes from Latin, which has its origins in classical Greek. The word Negro in Greek is derived from the root word necro, meaning dead. So what was once referred to as a physical condition is now referred to as an state of mind for millions of Africans, particularly in America and in the West in general. We have to shake off that Negroness, that mythology. We have to embrace being African, being black, and defend our physiology. Defend the African physiology, know about the pineal, know about the immune system, we could collectively organize and fight for our own survival. Metamorphosis continuing into our section called Alkebulan, our story, the people of Kemet. The Kemetic story is ancient and it goes way beyond our present tribulations. It gives us a framework as to where we are from and what is it we need to do in the present to reconstruct the positivities that came out of our anciency. When people hear about Africa, it is usually from a side of Western media. Wars and bang bellies and starvation and drought and all the various distresses that are possible we are connected to with Africa. At the same time, there are powers, particularly the Oriental, the Chinese, and the European Americans, who have a very serious vested interest in Africa. And this interest is based upon the resources of the continent. And the resources are both human and physical. The physical resources is what the battle is over in this present time. The physical resources meaning the stuff that is under the ground, the minerals. And this is the basis of building industrialized nations. You have to have minerals. It is the basis of the technological era that we are in, of computers and space travel. You have to have minerals. You have to have the diamonds, the titanium, all the various things that come together to create the machinery is out of Africa. So the African continent is the wealthiest. It is the people who are native to the continent that are having the disconnect. The people who are native to the continent are locked into two meditations. One is driven by Christianity. The other is driven by Islam. And these two meditations are, let us say, controlled by higher forces. Higher forces that are defined by the military forces and economics. So the African people, the black people, are basically divided across the continent in these two camps, Christians and Muslims. And the powers that define the division, the powers that control, the puppet masters, let the African people have the impression that they are being saved. And in their saving, they must give up the land. And in giving up the land, the reward will come in the sky. Now, this is a serious piece of mythology, serious piece of fabrication. That the continental meditation of the people is not on the land, but in some distant place off the planet, which must be beyond Mars in the real world, and must be beyond Pluto in the real world. Because as I speak to you, there are vessels that are flying by Pluto. And there's been no interference so far by anybody who's living in heaven. So the African people, man, the black people, the more we begin to reconnect to the ancient knowledge of Egypt and Mali, and the knowledge of Africa West, North, South, Central, we become grounded in ourselves. We have to recognize that there is no life after in heaven. The earth is the fullness, and Africa is the glory. The Orientals now are trying to control Africa. The Chinaman has come in with his infrastructural support in the same way in Jamaica, where he has come to Jamaica and has provided infrastructural building, roads and bridges, and in return, the Chinaman is given land. Is given access to your country. The same thing that's happening in Africa on a bigger scale. So the Europeans and the Americans and the Chinese have a vested interest in Africa. African people need to have a vested interest in Africa, but it begins by having an interest in your own self. And if yourself is not identified as an African, then you have no interest in the continent. So we could reformalize ourselves. We could return to the Africanicity that we once knew before we were taken out of Africa by Moses and taken into this desert and transformed into tribesmen and groups and, losing ourselves. Reclamation time. Yeah, there's Africa East, there's Africa West, Africa North, Africa South. Africa Central, Africa the Horn, massive, massive continent.
Ethiopia land is best of all. Repatriate and make we take it all. Enough land for you and Iman. Work hard and make we do it in a yard. Africa, we're coming to take it. Here I come. Africa, here I come. See your people come.
So before the coming of Muhammad, before Muhammad and before Jesus, before Islam and before Christianity, the Africans, the Kemetic people had their philosophy. Maat, thought, they were gods and goddesses in the African cosmology. We have to reconnect and recollect, reconfigure our consciousness. There's Africa North, Africa South, Africa East, West, and Central. There's Africa on the Horn. So when a man tells him go to Africa, he must tell you where in Africa he goes to. It's not one place. It's a massive, massive continent, bigger than North America, bigger than South America, bigger than Europe, all put together. Massive continent. It is worth fighting for. It is worth defending. It is worth claiming. It is worth identifying with. There is no Negro land. There is no place where Negroes come from, except out of the consciousness of the white man in America. There is no physical land space that has generated any kind of people called Negroes. Christians cannot accept Negroes because in the beginning, God said, let us make man. God never said, let us make Negroes. We also need to get past that bump that tries to convince all Africans that they were in a boat and that this boat was sailing on top of the world, and in that boat were 8 people, and out of that boat would come the entire African race. That's an allegory. That's a delusion. The entire African race could never emerge out of a boat and one man who was cursed. To burn them kind of fantasies. African people are universal. And there was no time in the history of Africa when the continent was submerged by any water. There was no time when Mount Everest was covered. The only way we could have such an event is if the polar caps melted. Both caps would have to melt for the entire world to be underwater. There is no geological history of that happening. The Noah's flood is probably just a little flood in the Mediterranean. But for Africa and the pyramids and for the Great Walls of Zimbabwe, there has never been a flood that has covered these buildings. Africa, ancient. So are the Africans. We have to also abandon that identity called Israel. Because Israel is not real. Israel is not African people. Yeah, we have to shake off all of the contraptions that prevent us from being African in the fullness of our consciousness.
Look around you. You them need a home. Can't you see that? Ghetto streets they roam. The wilderness is no place for us to rest our weary heads. Them not satire.
Money will him a go charge them to twerk. When them take we from Africa we yard. Never have no criminal record. I know them take we go abroad. Starting boy, Marcus Garvey who a profit first man then they put. If you have a clean record, passport or visa, you can't pass them port. Pass them port. So we don't come here for no visa and no passport. We don't come here for no visa and no passport. The whole of we come down here for the same boat. The whole of we come down here for
So how can the black man in America be rivaling with the black man from the Caribbean, claiming one is superior to the other? Deception. All of us coming out of Africa. So there is no Triniman. There is no Bajan. There is no Haitian. There is no Jamaican. We are all African people. We are all black people given these different national identities to make us think that one is superior to the other. We have Afrocentric thinking. We have Rastafari thinking. But fundamentally, genetically, psychologically, we're African people. And the more we get closer to that knowledge, the better we are in a position to defend ourselves. But clarity in knowledge is vital. And the journey of African people into this West is pure confusion and violence. We have been tricked out of our senses. We have been following illusions and fantasies. We've been reading stories that have been taking us outside of Africa and giving us positions of glory in alien territories. So one of the fundamental things we have to resolve continuously is how do we resurrect our African consciousness? What is it that we have to shake off? And we have to shake off many of the stories that have captured our imagination. Critical to the shaking off is that whole battle in writing between Pharaoh and Moses. And once you give the victory to Moses, it means it's a defeat to the African and it's defeat to the I. Look into it. So how many people believe that Moses really was able to bring plagues onto Egypt? You remember that story that gave us that Moses link up with Yahweh to fight Pharaoh? And in that link up, Moses would send certain plagues upon Africa. This is the man now who them leave us to follow. And in those stories, you hear say, river turn to blood, and the frog them come out, and whole of flies, and disease amongst the livestock is where it said, the guy Moses come with some germ warfare. And then there were boils and hailstorm and 3 days of darkness. No. When you go to the movies, you know, and you watch these things, you come out terrified. Yeah, man, y'all go under the seat and hide when some of the things them are going. And you build up a great amount of awe for the character called Moses. It's really Charlton Heston, you know. And Hollywood and the Metro Golden Mayors and the people them creating drama and impact upon I brain. But it is long lasting. To the extent that we pass on these stories to our children. And we glorify this character called Moses. That Moses becomes a hero and defeats all of Egypt. Can you imagine now? One man come up and defeat the entire Africa. All the dynasties and the history of Africa, this one man come and defeat it. And have us following clock behind Moses. Out of Africa, through some Red Sea crossing. And we embrace these things as practical. Because we have been convinced that this force called Yahweh is more powerful than the gods of Africa. The gods of Africa who set up the foundation of the universe, who set up the earth, the gods and the goddesses of Africa, who set the river Nile in motion and give inspiration to the pharaohs and the queens. It is this same now that we are going to be told is going to be defeated by a God that was created by Abraham. We have to look into these allegories and clear up our meditation and remove the fear of this Yahweh and return to the knowledge of Maat and the Egyptians of the Nile Valley culture. One thing we know that though, you know, Yahweh was a bully. Because when Moses go talk to him, Moses said, oh, me not do it, so Yahweh said, you better do what I say, you know. Moses said, boy, you have to give me some evidence, you know. Because bad man is him now, you know. Brute force. And him roping him brother Aaron. And together now we hear that these two men would rule and lead these former slaves out of Africa. We are also told that Moses was the only one who could link up with Yahweh on the mountain. And it was manifested in some burning bush. Obviously Moses was smoking some good Cali weed. And in the burning of that bush, he heard voices and he got visions. Yeah. And he returned with these ideas that he has been given to give to the people who him lead out. Same have commandments. Yeah, the commandments came to him through lightning. Telling man, African people now, that they must abandon their gods and goddesses and follow behind Yahweh, this jealous God of wrath and envy grudgefulness. And you wonder why the people behave in that fashion. The reports are telling us that the detectives in the Vatican have arrested one of the archbishops, finding over 100,000 images of children on a computer. This is the Vatican, the seat of Christendom and the seat of pedophile behavior, legitimating same-sex, destroying African culture. No problem with Babylon. The problem is Vatican. Yeah, burn down the Vatican. Seat of immorality. Seat of the enslaver. Yeah, the Vatican. Early Rastaman, always burn the Vatican. We have lost our way.
Me say I love her, I and I preaching, so every land of hate will burn. I was there when the ships came and chastised I in a Jesus' name. Wonder if me crazy, wonder if me sane, but the whole of Rome I go up in a flame. I know nothing for me walk in a room and start a fire. And I know nothing for me walk in a room and start a fire. African, I go bun down the whole in a Vatican, but I know nothing for me walking around. Start a fire. We a go home, the whole demographic. And when me talk, I mean no hypocritic. When you say Rome, I eat no geographic. But if I you feel wear the cap, then I you with a fit. When me say Rome, me a talk about lion. I the Selassie, I the power of the triad. The eagle and the dragon and the bear a spit fire, but them can't overthrow the conquering lion. Listen to the voice of the people. Today Rome will burn. I know me alone, I the over evil. Said today Rome will burn. No nothing for me walking a Rome and start a fire. Yes. No nothing for me walking a Rome and start a fire. Me say a fire because them a ask our little African. Now go ignite the whole in a Vatican, but I know nothing for me walking a Rome.
Knowledge is the key. You know that the scientific world is opening up in such a very serious and rapid way, with all sorts of ways of moving deep into deeper space, into the galaxies, exploration. And in that scientific space explosion, it is bringing a serious challenge to the Bible world. There seems to be conferencing taking place between the scientists from NASA and the European Space Station and the theologians and the Vatican to find a way to share the new information to the world without sending all of you believers into shock. What is becoming very evident almost daily is the new insights into the depth of the cosmos, the clarity of which objects are now being seen light years away. Greater telescopes are being placed, and man has been spending more time now in space. For example, the Pentagon have a vessel that has been up in the air for over 600 days, non-stop, just simply circulating the planet and doing all sorts of things above us. But what is really happening in the religious world is that the knowledge of science is pushing in on the creation theory. The knowledge of science about how the earth was created, and plant life and animal life, all this is being challenged as new information comes in about the potential intelligence in other planets and other spaces. So for example, the theory was, in order for there to be life, you needed plants, because plants were the key to the creation of oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. Now, they have been able to isolate oxygen out of carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is CO. Now they're able to use ultraviolet radiation to separate the C from the O, which means you can create oxygen without plants. Now this is a very serious movement in moving towards setting up atmosphere for man and this planet to exist on. So there is much going on in terms of trying to find ways to colonize other planets. And I on the surface here now struggling with germs and religious struggles, germ warfare and religious warfare, when the world of science is moving at rapid. So pretty soon, we're going to hear that there are evidence of other life forms, other intelligences. And it will bring the concept of God into question. The creation of the earth, and man being given the feeling that he is God's special creation, and that God cares about him, and that the Creator has a special place for man. All of this made us blow away, when we realized that there are millions and millions of lives, different worlds out there, infinite amount of galaxies. It's going to be very disappointed. And then the economics of the church world will simply fall apart. I would like the black churches in America to just hold them money. Yeah, just hold the money that they have been contributing to these black churches, and the black churches must begin to re-examine their position in America. Churches in America, are they really supporting black people in their liberation, or are they part of the enslavement? Because the millions of black people are there still waiting on Jesus to save them. And they're not recognizing their African identity and their blackness. It's a struggle, but a luta continua.
man no live too long. Babylon a kill out the prophet. Babylon a kill out the prophet. So great man no live too long. So great man no live too long. So just through them know say we are judge a message of the Babylon no want say I and I prosper. We spreading the works of our Father. Show the youth them up to live together. Show man feel live out to live like brother. And that's the way we don't want no disaster. We give thanks and praise to Jah the Father. Iman we guidance and we savior. This militant road is a dangerous road. No one man can carry such a heavy load. It's a long way.
Yeah, we are going to have to make some very serious decisions within our own meditation. Because for the last 500 years, we have been given two options to accept, one or the other, as a way to maintain our sanity. We have been told that the world came into being through an experience called the Big Bang. And so there's a notion of a Big Bang theory, where all things started from this fantastic explosion of energy. And from that explosion came forth planets and stars. And in the cooling down process, we had the eventual evolution of a planet called Earth. And within the Earth itself, there was another evolution of life from single-cell animals, amoebas, to complex animals like the whale of that size. But in between those movement of cells, from one cell to billions of cells, there is a philosophy that the first cell had a creator. And that the cell is so organized it had to be created. And so when you trace even beyond the Big Bang, you end up with a concept of a creator. And that is the same creator that the creationists speak to. So the evolutionists and the creationists are in the same school. They both acknowledge in their meditation that there was a starting point, a beginning, and a starter. What is shocking in these days is that the information coming in out of scientific research is identifying a universe or a cosmos that is infinite. They're uncovering the infinity of the universe, meaning it's not only a universe, it is a multiverse. It is a pluriverse. It's an infinity of verses. And in that infinity, there can be no creation outside of procreation. And it becomes cyclic without a starting point. So the thinking process is now, we'll have to be shifting out of the Bible. We shift out of the scientific framework of the Big Bang and recognize infinity. And infinity is all about energy having neither beginning nor an end. We are all aspects of energy. We are all aspects of infinity. We are all infinite beings. So once we come to those consciousness of self, we try to relate now to each other in a more positive light. We try to realize the blackness that connects us all. Yeah, the darkness of space, the energy that surrounds us. And begin to see ourselves for what we really are. We are divinities passing through this psychological space and time.
This is Styles FM, broadcasting from Portland, Jamaica.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles. For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
So, bossy.
What's your problem?
Boy, me nah no problem, you know. But you see how me tell you fi up on Pan Styles 2014 calendar you make him miss you. Make sure no make the 2015 one miss you again, you know, bossy. You know see how last year them hype up the sponsors them with interviews and non-stop big ups in December. Next year I come soon, you know. And me say Styles up the thing. Call them no man, because spots limited. 876-439-5160. 876-439-5160. Or email info@stylesfm.com for more information. Do it now, bossy.
You know what? I am going to call them right now.
Hey, what's happening?
Brother, what's up?
This is a big party, man.
Yeah, brother,
dig it.
stop. Right on.
There's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, Brother Marvin Gaye asking us what's going on? What's going on? Well, so many things going on internationally. Most of the stuff happening is not very positive. Much of it is all about war. It is about the United States summoning up its weapons of destruction, all focused now in Syria. Just last week they were in Iraq fighting Saddam. Now they have crossed the border and now they're in Syria. And in this bombing, the Pentagon is having a field day. They are now testing weapons that were created 10, 15 years ago. That are bombers and stealth planes. Now they can test them in the theater. When people go out to build weapons of war and destruction, it's not for trophies' sake. They have some intention of using these things. So America always glad for an opportunity to test their weaponry when we consider that weapons making is a major part of the American economy. Making weapons of war and selling them sometimes to the both combatants. Weapons are coming from the Americans. We have our problems here in Jamaica. We don't make guns here, but we have more guns than what is probably in America. Yeah, relatively speaking. So the war situation now. We see where the Russians and the Ukrainians are locked into a deadly grip. Putin, of course, is a judo man, and he knows how to put on these grips. And he has warned the world that he's not afraid to use his nuclear weapons. So there's a potential for nuclear war right there in the European framework. Russia versus the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are not alone because the European Union and America have taken up sides because they are insisting that the Russians must not rise again. So we see a third world war, European world war in the making, not being discussed by the media, but it is happening. what the media seems to be focusing on is the war against ISIS, ISIS. This is a newly formed state created by forces who the Americans displaced and demand them regroup. This whole battle started when the Americans brought down their own building under the name of Osama bin Laden, bringing the country into war with a perceived enemy that were called Al-Qaeda. And in this perception of an enemy, America was able to overcome the robbery of the elections by George Bush. People tend to forget that Bush stole the elections from Al Gore, paralyzed the United States government and all its activities, country come into a total gridlock, sacrificing 4,000 people for the sake of the nation. It's a small sacrifice, and it was taken and it was done. And so America now found itself as one. Everybody became a patriot, red, white, and blue all about the place. And on that vibration, they went into Iraq and removed the legitimate leader. The pseudo enemy, bin Laden, was taken off the scene recently, just simply wiped off the scene and dismissed. And the show was over. But that was not only part one, because part two now was the rebirth of Al-Qaeda in a greater proportion, more mighty, a bigger state, forcing America to return with their bombers and to set the whole world at war again. So, a man like Obama, who came at a time when America needed a peacemaker, has now been thrust into the role of a warmonger. America needs another Reagan, and Obama doesn't fit the bill. Serious times ahead, because there's war and more war, and I must prepare right here on this rock.
Eternal flames of hell, hellfire. I said doctrines of the falling angel. No water to quench eternal flames of hell, hellfire. Earth crisis.
This is the sound of steel pulse, and the earth really is undergoing its own crisis. You know, over in Hong Kong, the people in Hong Kong are resisting the extension of China into their country. China is trying to determine who must be the leaders. There's a total standoff. They call themselves the pro-democracy movement. Of course, this is being fueled by the United States in their attempt to rattle China. China has stayed out of the Islamic struggle. They're not involved in the bombing and the running and so forth, and seem to be organizing themselves to be the next mighty power. But now they have a little problem on their doorstep. Big problem, because the people of Hong Kong are holding firm that they will not buckle to the power of China. And right across the globe, you know, we have situations where people now are no longer willing to be bullied by the people who are elected. People who they put in power have turned around and become their own bullies and their masters. Globally, the people are awakening to this phenomenon that passing over your confidence and your trust, you can't just leave it alone. You have to be vigilant. And it is the vigilance now that is causing the reaction in the world. People are unwilling to just sit by now and take it. And people are no longer willing to just say everything must be done by the government. People are willing to take things in their own hands. And if the government doesn't do what they must do, the people, in their mightiness and in their confidence, they will rise up and they will do it. So if it means justice, and if the justice is not conducted properly, the people will rise up and do it. In our society here in Jamaica, youths have been brutalized in the police system, in the penal system, in the courthouses, and more recently in the jails. And these are systems that need to be exposed and explored, because in a place like Jamaica, I am sure that 99% of the prisoners are black youths. Yeah, 99% of the prisoners. Our population is not 100% black, but I'm sure the prisons have a very small amount of the other groups, if any. So we have some serious things we have to face with right here in this rock. And it becomes more difficult if we depend too much and more on what is called government. It is time that the people begin to depend on themselves, but the self must have an identity. And in this case, we must recognize that we are Africans living on an island called Jamaica, and we rally around our blackness. Yeah, all of you woke up feeling funny. Yeah, that's how Iman will feel. Serious.
To a man, because all these things are abomination to the Lord God. Yeah, cause every day the girls dress up in her trousers. I say, what happened to your skirts and blouses? Why can't I man see you in your dresses? Cause these things unto judge and all pleases. And every day them a worship vanities. And your greatest lust is jewelries. Mind ya lick you with diseases. Hey, mind ya lick you with diseases. Hey, yeah. The most dangerous diseases. I said the most dangerous diseases. I'm talking like the elephantitis. The other one is the poliomyelitis. Arthritis and the one diabetes. You see, cause every day that I turn the Bible pages. From
Now, as we look into the news locally now, we here on the island really having a crisis in our midst based upon this chick-V virus. It has really slowed production. It has slowed movement. It has really brought the population to a slow. And it leaves Iman to wonder, if this is man-made or this is just the environment. First, we were told that it's mosquitoes. And if it is mosquitoes that cause these illnesses, then it's not about anything psychological and spiritual. It's about cleanliness. It's about education. It's about having civics in classes again, that a youth know that tidiness is what they would call godliness. We hear that if you get bitten once, then that's sufficient. That if you get the virus once, you won't get it again. We're hearing all sorts of things, but the Ministry of Health not really confirming much. There have been even cries for the minister to resign based upon his manifestation of behavior during this crisis. In other words, Jamaica is such a politicized society that maybe for the first time we're having an issue here that is neither PNP nor JLP. This is not a PNP disease, it's not a JLP disease. This is a disease that is affecting the black population, the vast population in Jamaica in particular. So the clarity and reality and truth is necessary. And if you hide information, or we stay in Jamaica, we're going to make up things. And we'll make up the things, then it's going to be so unbelievable that people are going to really, really even worse off than not knowing. So the Ministry of Health need to provide more updates as to what this thing is. We hear about people who have taken medicine and have died in response to this virus, that the doctor give prescription that should not have been given and the person does kick over. So information is what is crucial. Knowledge higher. It can't be superstition. But God come for him world and everything going done now. It cannot be that way. It must be a scientific and a intelligent response to this attack. It is an attack. It's an attack on the biological system. It's an attack on our immune system. We want to hear about the foods that we need to be eating. We want to hear about the liquids that we need to be drinking. Yeah, that's what the type of support we need. We don't want to hear no boogie-yaggy story. We want results through our own analysis and through our own thinking. Yeah, man, it's a very serious thing. And then the bigger thing now is on the horizon. The bigger one is the Ebola. And Ebola is in North America, and which means it can be here in Jamaica. And I tell you, this is not a joke thing. We're a small island, and we see what is happening in large places like in Western Africa, Liberia, and Niger. We really can't manage this type of thing right here. So vigilance, vigilance. All Jamaican people should be informed about Ebola. How is it transmitted? People talk about you have to wash your hands. Nothing goes so. Does it travel through the air, or is it only through bodily fluids? Information campaign is needed to pre-arrange ourselves for this potential devastating virus.
Live up, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why, welcome, connects the walk. Why, welcome, connects the deliverer, deliverer, boy, deliverer, boy. Me say we lose faith in the preachers. The youth them need a teacher because Papa in my ball send no money in a wallet. Mama she a ball on gripping pan her forehead. Cousin in my cry say Iman poverty married. Him no eat no food from last week. Plus the little pitney them a ball. Santa never bring a barrel. Never bring the present and him never bring the Sahara. The three stooges were in a parliament a quarrel. Tell them Selassie I issue a warning. Say the cup them full and run over. When the cup them full and run over, a judgment, judgment. For you, Mr. Man, in your Benz and your Rover. Whoa, the cup them full and run over. When the cup them full and run over, a judgment, judgment. For you, Mr. Man, in your Benz. on the side, mixing concrete and mortar. Can't afford the light and them still thief in water. Mama, she a cry, can't see school fee for data. But she find the offering for give thief in pasta. Elam powder, lightning and thunder. When the youth them fed up and frost. Babylon fall like lumber, get gas asunder. When the lightning set up and flash. When the cup them full and run over. When the cup them full and run over.
Of course, I have to hail all my listeners right here in Port Antonio, Bonebrook, down here in St. Mary. Yes, we know the St. Mary people are tuned into Styles FM and the Metamorphosis. People in St. Thomas, give thanks for the connection there. Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Spanish Town. Hail all the listeners on this fair island. And of course, to all the people connected to the cyberspace. Brooklyn, Bronx, New York, east and to the eyes. California, Atlanta, Texas. Hailing all the ones who are part of the Styles FM family. North America and Europe, South America and Africa. Down under, hail up to Dakai. Metamorphosis. So let us not be confused and be tricked. So they have decriminalized ganja, but we don't want the crumbs off of the table. We don't want the crumbs. We want more of the cake, which means we must move towards the hemp. Yeah, hemp is the food. The rest is the crumbs.
When the cup them full and run over, and when the cup them full and run over, tell them say I done, tell them say I done me.
Ronaldinho, what's Pele now? What a beautiful goal from Pele. El Rey.
The way that Maradona has been able to do, and he's hurting England again here. This is a brilliant run. It's one of the world's great goals.
Set.
They get away first time. Tyson Gay right alongside Usain Bolt, but here he goes, streaking away already. It's Bolt all the way. He's looking round at Gay. Watch the clock. It's goal for Bolt, and again he's done it again. A new world record for Usain Bolt. They say lightning doesn't strike twice. The world belongs to Bolt. Berlin belongs to Bolt. 9.58.
The expectation of a nation's like music to the air. We're singing a brand new song, marching to a brand new beat. Down the hillside, through the valleys, filling every street. It's time to rise up, and I'm taking a plane. Rise up, shine like the sun. Rise up, rise up. Your journey has just begun. Rise up, rise up. Stand like the parade. Rule your destiny. Be the best that you can be.
We know we start from the bottom and we reach right over the top. No matter what you do, you know say that we can't stop. We stand up and salute down to the yellow, the green, the black. And make them know say that we want this music.
Yeah, world is for you taking.
Yeah, sports and the Metamorphosis. The games that people play. The big ball is dominant. Football, soccer. At the international level, the club systems are at full speed ahead. We here in Jamaica are locked into the EPL. Some of us are locked into La Liga. Many are now being introduced to the Bundesliga. These are the top teams or leagues in the Europe. These are the most expensive players play here. These are where the richest contracts are offered. It's the epicenter of world football. European leagues. Players from all around the world, gravitate towards playing in Europe because, of course, that's where the largest monies are. In the Caribbean now, our region, Jamaica, in particular, our top soccer is really our schoolboy football. But at the global level, your top football should be your club football. Our club football struggles here in the island because of a whole heap of inefficiencies. One of the deepest causes of our inefficiency in our football at the club level is the inability to move from amateur to semi-pro to pro. That inability to move from being a recreational player to a player who is being paid. It's a dream of most youths who play soccer to be a professional. But within the Jamaican context, there need to be an awakening to the reality that professional soccer doesn't really exist here. Professional soccer can only exist where you have professional structures. And the country doesn't have any structures to hold professional sports, football in particular. Our best football, though, is at the schoolboy level, where it is most organized, properly most financed, most supported. We have the unique distinction of being in the country where schoolboy football is more popular than club football. And within that context now, our schoolboy leagues are in full gear. Manning Cup, which is Kingston and St. Andrew, and the D'Acosta Cup, which is the bigger rural 12 parishes of Jamaica. The struggle continues to show that in terms of the rural football, 12 parishes, the eastern section of the country continues to be way, way behind in terms of results and performance. And eastern Jamaica means St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, and St. Anne. None of these parishes have produced a D'Acosta Cup winner yet. The best that has happened from those 4 parishes has come out of Portland. Between the Comprehensive High School and the Titchfield High School, both teams have made top 4 appearances on numerous occasions, but none so far has been able to win this D'Acosta Cup. This D'Acosta Cup, now people need to realize that it is organized and designed in a way that the teams in the East will probably never win this cup. Because schoolboy football is not a professional setting. These are schoolboys. And so the venue is a critical part of their makeup, of how they perform. The administrators have been convincing the people that schoolboys can play anywhere and win anywhere. And on that basis, Eastern teams have always been forced to go into Western Jamaica to play the final. And on that basis, I'm telling the item, I've been there personally. I have had colleagues who have been there personally, and there's literally no chance. In order to have an opportunity to win the D'Acosta Cup in the eastern section of Jamaica, one of the first things that are required is a venue. And there's no proper venue between St. Anne's and St. Thomas to host a D'Acosta Cup final. So on that basis alone, the whole East is eliminated. And so the players have to be trekking all over the island, going into venues where teams are familiar, officials are familiar, and they're forced to try to win there. And then we talk about any good team can win anywhere. It's so hypocritical. That statement only relates to professional teams. A professional team can win anywhere. A schoolboy team is a schoolboy team. And the illusion that schoolboys can win anywhere is deceptive, and forever the East shall be followers. Because to really win the D'Acosta Cup, the venue have to be somewhere in the Northeast. That the teams have to travel the same way the Eastern team must travel to play in the West. It is an inbuilt unfairness. It is illegal and it is immoral, and those who govern must see and know. And those who govern Eastern football must be also criticized seriously. Because look at a venue like Carter Park. Carter Park 20 years ago was probably the best venue in the entire island, and today is a cow pasture. It's a shame and a disgrace on those who are the governors of football in this region. The Reggae Boys are up to face Japan very shortly, and after that match they will go into the Caribbean tournament. Anything less than a victory means the exit of the great German, and the ball game will begin again. Musical cheers, searching for a coach for the salvation of our football. The answer doesn't rest in a coach. It rests in structures. It rests in having a technical director in all confederations. It means really reorganizing, pushing the football for success at the Olympic level via our brilliant schoolboys. So we have this thing in Jamaica now that we call green gold. Green gold. But before I proceed into this other section of the reason, I wanted to just reflect on a little thing that's happening in the world of football that I sort of overlooked. We have a contestation now between a player and the federation. This is a national player called Jermaine Hugh. Jermaine Hugh is coming out of the Eastern Confederation, one of the best players that the Confed has generated. Coming from under 14 program in Morant Bay, went on to play at St. Thomas Technical, on to Harbourview, national player, brilliant free kick player, played a brilliant free kick, good left-footed player, outstanding individual youth. Sometime last year he was drug tested, randomly tested after a game against Honduras, and he was found to have some substance that was on the banned list. So himself and the doctor, Pee Wee, were banned for a number of years, and they went through a lot of distress. Jermaine Hugh now has turned around and decided to sue the JFF for loss of income and all the various things that go along with it. The JFF, of course, has responded to him, telling him that he must withdraw his this thing, otherwise face other punishments. But what it has brought to the front is a sort of insight into how the world of football operates. That FIFA is the governor. FIFA is the governor of world football. And FIFA has articulated its position to all national governments, telling them that none of their business can be taken into the civil courts. Any legal activities must happen within FIFA, within the CONCACAF, and within JFF. So Jeremy Hughes' attempt now to sue the JFF in the civil courts is a violation of what FIFA demands, and it is causing more problems than perhaps what the Federation could anticipate. But you see, sometimes it takes a single man to challenge a monstrous organization to get a change. Years ago, there was a Belgian footballer called Bosman, Jean-Marc Bosman. And Bosman was the one who challenged the rule that players could not be moved about, that players could not get their contracts, get out of the contracts before a certain time. Bosman took the club to the court and was victorious and had a serious impact on how football players now move across Europe, across the borders. I'm saying to say that Jeremy challenging the JFF could be a turning point in relations between players and the federation and the association. Not so sure how it's going to work out, but you have to have the courage to challenge these big boys, especially when they think that they're always right. The football world is a very unique place. It's a world unto itself, with its own laws, almost as if it's more powerful than national government. That is the way of FIFA. So we want to watch this German Hugh case, watch how Borrell handles it, and see if he can really buck it.
This is what I have to confess. It's all about the cess. Hey, are the original this? Are the cannabis? The original this that I put it in my pill and it cure me sickness. Are the cannabis? The original this that I put it in my pill and it cure me sickness. Open your ears and listen to me argument. That has linked up with the aids of government. Them go ahead and then them keep a conference. That has what we say and lick the poke up on the dance. Them ask the question, what a weed is this? Them get to find out it can make fabric. Them do a research on the ganja, yeah. And get to find out it can make paper. Now be touch on to the other class. Cannabis, them put it in a eye drops. Them even put it in a painkiller. And the same cannabis, it cure me asthma. And the cannabis, the original this that I put it in a me pill and it cure me sickness. And the cannabis, the original this that I put it in a me pill and it cure me sickness. Oh yes, it's all about the cess.
Yes, all about the green gold,
About the cess.
cannabis sativa. So now, cannabis is now the centerpiece of the discussion in the economy. Rastaman has been brutalized for using cannabis for so long. Police have taken advantage of so many people, oftentimes on the basis of one seed of the cannabis or one leaf. Now society is turning to cannabis for its salvation. They should also recognize that Rastafari has been part of their salvation in providing information about levity. So the moment that we're into now is where cannabis is becoming a centerpiece of our dialogue and our discussions. And people are celebrating the release of the cannabis. And in this release, I want them think carefully now about African people here in this island, what our attitude has been towards development and economics. Now, there are really three types of industries that they speak about or they teach about in the academy. Industries in 3 different formats. And they describe them as primary, secondary, and tertiary. When you look at the history of African people, black people on this island, we have been locked into the first level of industry. And at the first level of industry, we find farmers, fishermen, people who deal with mining, and so forth. Call it primary industries. So from the days of plantation, slavery, the majority of the black people have been engaged in primary production, sugarcane, food, that type of stuff. And we have been locked into that for decades. And our farmers have been conditioned to farm for food, for export. Sugarcane, bananas, it was all about sending things to the queen. So historically and generationally, we have been farming for food, both for self-sustenance and for export. The second level of industry is manufacturing. I'm going to jump over that and go to the third level of industry, which is called the service industries. And again, you find a vast amount of black people engaged at this level of industry, third level. Service, entertainment, education, hotels, service industry. So we have been, for decades, trained as primary producers and as providers of service. Our hospitality industry is one that is very peculiar in the island. My brethren went to perform in one of the hotels and they told him that he had to walk through the service entrance. He couldn't walk through the lobby of the hotel. This is in 2014, right down here in Jamaica. Of course, my brethren, who's a Rastaman artist, tell them, say, well, you know, sorry, but you won't see Iman here again. So this industry, this tertiary level of industry, is a sort of relic that maintains the mentality of slavery. I go around the corners now to say that, look, now that the ganja plant is being liberated, we must, for a moment, think outside of the first level and third level of industry. We cannot focus our minds simply on the production level at the farmer and the service level at the hotels. We must concentrate our energies now at the level of the manufacturer. These are the families and the groups of people who realize that this is where money is made. The manufacturers. So if we concentrate on pharmaceutical ganja, we will not be the manufacturers of that. We will be the consumers. We will be providing the ganja, but we will not be the manufacturers. If we meditate on hemp, we are forced to become manufacturers. The food farmers will realize that farming for food is not so productive beyond self-sufficiency, because what I mean by this, our productions are no longer being sold abroad because of this globalization, open market trade. This removal of our tariffs, this removal of our trade agreements have made our products basically unworthy of selling. So we buy more foreign goods than what we make. So in other words, now the farmer of food is not finding much outlet for his food. That farmer could also move to farming hemp. And in farming hemp, that farmer will be motivated to get involved in manufacturing. And so what we need is a class of manufacturers amongst black people and the Rastafarians who will look about bringing in equipment to transform hemp into materials. Yeah, man, we need to have production. And this production will be controlled now from the grassroots level. Not from the top down, but from the bottom up. We have to move into towards hemp. We can have hemp factories right across this island, producing different products in each parish. The whole economy can be motivated towards manufacturing of hemp, where young men will see and be motivated to go and plant hemp, knowing that nobody won't thief it. And it goes from the farm to the factory. We need investors, entrepreneurs who will put their money now into equipment. And once the money goes into the equipment, the plant is here, the labor is here, the world market is there. And we make money and we become the owners of production, not just the providers of raw material or service.
Warning. The Surgeon General warns. Cigarette smoking is dangerous. Dangerous. Hazard to your health. Does that mean anything to you? Them legalize marijuana. Right here in Jamaica, yeah. Them say it cure glaucoma, yeah.
The decriminalization of ganja is not about Rastafari, no. It's about the economics of the wealthy. A long time Rastaman telling you about the benefits medicinally of ganja. So claiming it now cannot be a revelation. This is old knowledge. It's not about helping Rastafari or black people, it's about helping the wealthy themselves. They have found a way to corner the economy, but we can find a way out if we focus on the manufacturing aspects of hemp. Make him go on with the smoke. Make we penetrate the money. Yeah man, the hemp is the money. The ganja is for recreation and it's for health. The farmers will earn from production of ganja. But I must move into the manufacturing aspects. Yeah man, we need to form cooperatives that will concentrate on equipment. Rasta paper, reggae cloth. Yeah, right here in Jamaica.
Down here in Jamaica, yeah. Can build up a feeling economy, yeah. Eliminate the slavish mentality. So there'll be no more illegal humiliation.
Yes, Craig Mark. All the people of Spain Town. Also Bora, also in Spain Town. Rastafari, I know. Dirks Patrick, long time, Norwich Hill Passy. Yeah, we'll legalize it up right here in Styles FM.
Only cure for glaucoma. Iman at the bush doctor.
This man, Peter Touch, gets so much beat up and bruised up. Yeah, man, enough prison sentence and lick up all over this same thing called ganja. Yeah, reparations needed.
No more need to smoke and hide. When you know you're taking a legal ride. So legalize marijuana. Down here in Jamaica.
There's long time man I cry for the thing and I free up, you know. Long time. We get enough licks and bruise up, you know. Long time.
Tired for liquid in a bush. Tired for lick pipe in a gully. We want to come out in the open. With the breeze skin blowing so far away. To the north, to the south, to the east and to the west. To the west. Talking about Jonestown. from Waterhouse. That's the West. That's the best. That's the West.
Still having a problem with the idea of who's gonna grow the ganja.
It comes to you, the best
Are the ganja growers going to be legitimate? Can we decriminalize ganja and have illegal growers? Oh, that going to work out. More legislation definitely needed. But the hemp has been liberated already. The hemp requires no legislation, no treaties. Hemp is not a psychotic drug. It's a drug in the form of ganja because of the THC content. Hemp has no THC. It has 0.03 THC. So the power of the law doesn't affect hemp production. So we have to shake off the police off our back once and for all and concentrate on growing the hemp industry. Not just for Jamaica, but all African, Caribbean and Pacific states searching for an economic liberation. It's through hemp. Yeah man, we have to liberate the hemp. 25,000 products from cellophane paper to dynamite. Yeah, we can break the poverty once and for all.
Tired Billy pipe in a gully. We want to come out in the open. With the breeze can blow it so far away. To the north, to the south, to the...
Rock me nice and easy. Rock me nice and slow. In the early morning, you turn me on, so let the good times roll. I said them try to separate we, but me no wanna crack fi smoke. Give me the ital in my brain and let it light up in my dome. I wonder if for me alone one steaming the sensei every time. I wonder if for me alone one burning every time. I said, give me the highest grade. I tell you, it's the perfect tree. And let it light up in my brain, my brother. Strictly herbs for me. I love my marijuana. Rastaman, it's the perfect tree. I love my marijuana. Rastaman, strictly herbs for me. Boy. I say me granny say no touch it, and me say grandma you're insane. Nobody incriminate no coach it. It never.
But you know, at a very practical level, just like drinking, not everybody must smoke, not everybody must drink, not everybody can handle liquor, not everybody can handle cannabis. Just know thyself.
It's the perfect tree, and let it light up in my brain, my brother. Strictly herbs for me. I love my marijuana. No, Rastaman, it's the perfect tree. I love my marijuana. Boy, Rastaman, strictly herbs for me. Inna the hills when me steaming. Hey, I me say nothing can sweet so. Look how me eyes them bleeding. Bro, I me say nothing can sweet so. Hear me? I chew me sweet from the board and then me take out the seed. Teflon a hot chronic sour that you a steam. The highest get me eye me I wonder if me a dream. I easy grow will a me box.
You know that as we come towards another closure of another metamorphosis, sort of hoping that the one them engage in their own selves in reasoning. 'Cause you have to reason within the self, you know. And within that reasoning there need to be some honesty, because it's difficult to Yes, it's important that we sort of confront our own selves with certain realities. You know, you can tell a man a lie and walk off and laugh, but once you're by yourself, you can't laugh anymore because you know, say what you say never go so. We have some double standards and some hypocritical ways of adjusting and dealing with things here in Jamaica. We emphasize liquor. The manufacturers and the producers and the advertisers drill the concept of liquor into the minds of the population and encourage people to drink and to get drunk. And when that drunkenness, you have one person around you who is responsible for you. We know about the death of several native Indians through firewater. We know that the destruction of liquor and its effect upon family systems. We know of the effect on the physical body, the liver, various organs that make you seize up. But at the same time, because of money, health is put to the side and these things are pushed. Cigarettes are pushed, nicotine. The cigarette box tell you now that this thing will kill you, but it's on sale. So the society has been hypocritical to drugs because cigarette is a drug and liquor is drugs. Marijuana is a herb. And the society has organized to fight against the herb, which is medicinal, and to promote the drug of cigarette and rum. And the rum bars are dominant in the society. You want to find a rum bar, look for a church. Because together they walk spiritually together. And the population is locked in the rum, locked in the cigarette. And the Rasta man who was promoting herb for the meditation was brutalized and imprisoned. Now the same hypocritical society has decided to liberate the plant. And in that liberation, Rastaman should be compensated for all the violence that reached him and his family through this same plant. But that will not happen. What the Rastaman must do now is rather than celebrate this pseudo victory of being able to smoke herb, must concentrate now on how to make the money out of the plant. And the real money comes from manufacturing of hemp. Rasta must know.
And this a protege, yeah. Chronics are where you stay, yeah. Okay. Oh, baby.
I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. To provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Relief.
Hey. When me see Jah, me see a way. Drastically straight from hypocrisy, I say, hey. Every man to them own a philosophy. I live the proper way and then me read a chapter daily. Man, they in a city hungry and no eat. And food they down a country just a drop off of the tree then. You see say poverty no real then. Is what the reason revealing.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows. Sending love to my friends and foes.
Head up Titchfield Hill. Head up Harborview. Head up UWI. Head up my night nurse in the Bronx.
I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Relief.
When the rain pits up on the roof, herb just a steam pepper pot on the stew. Life is a dream if you got gratitude. So go tell the regime them can't stop where we do now. Information you think on your own, or else you're a slave to the things that you know. What do you know if you learn every day? So be careful of things where you say.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I just go.
So Metamorphosis is heading out. I want to leave you with some hemp facts. That a hemp crop produces nearly 4 times as much raw fiber as the same size tree plantation. That trees take approximately 20 years to mature. Hemp takes 4 months. Hemp needs no pesticides because it is unpalatable to insects. Hemp paper does not need chlorine bleach. Hemp paper is used for banknotes and archives. Hemp uses the sun more efficiently than virtually any other plant on the planet. Hemp can grow in virtually any climate and soil condition and is excellent for reclaiming otherwise unusable land. Until 1883, more than 3/4 of the world's paper was made from hemp. Since the 1900s, all newspaper and most books and magazines have been printed on wood pulp paper. The tide is reversing. We are returning to hemp. Let us move on it. It is right here. African, Caribbean, Pacific states, let us focus on the industrialization of hemp for our economic liberation. Give thanks to all those who are part of Styles FM, Jacko, engineer, New Jersey's people, positively, people of the world, focus on our immune system. Health is crucial. Iman Blak, out.
This is Styles FM, broadcasting from Portland, Jamaica.
Must be the luckiest, most fortunate one.